In the sun-dappled gardens of Willowbrick Manor, where ivy clung to stone arches like whispered promises, Isabella's wedding unfolded like a dream spun from silk and champagne. The air hummed with laughter, the scent of blooming peonies mingling with the sweet notes of a string quartet. Guests in pastel finery swirled across the lawn, toasting to eternal love under a canopy of fairy lights. But for Sophia Evergreen, seated at a corner table draped in ivory lace, the celebration was a gilded cage. At 28, she was the bridesmaid in emerald silk, her chestnut waves pinned with wildflowers, yet utterly, achingly alone. Sophia had always been the quiet shadow to her sister's radiant sun. Isabella, with her porcelain skin and laughter like wind chimes, had ensnared the heart of Marcus Hale, a charming architect whose smile could thaw winter. The union was inevitable, a fairy tale scripted in stolen glances and seaside proposals. Sophia, however, carried the weight of unwritten chapters, her career as a botanical illustrator blooming in solitude, her heart a garden overgrown with what-ifs. "You'll find someone," Isabella would say, patting her hand with sisterly pity. But today, as the ceremony peaked with vows that echoed like poetry, Sophia's solitude sharpened into a blade. Family whispers slithered. Poor Sophie, still single at her age. Her mother had seated her at the singles table, a euphemism for exile, surrounded by awkward cousins and empty chairs. "Don't want you cramping the lover's style, dear," her aunt had quipped, eyes twinkling with false cheer. So there she sat, nursing a flute of sparkling cider, watching the world pair off like Noah's Ark, 2 by 2. The reception began with a flourish, a cascade of rose petals, clinking glasses, the bride's gown swirling like a comet's tail. Sophia forced smiles, applauding as Isabella and Marcus shared their first dance, bodies melting into rhythm. But as the floor filled, her table remained a barren island. A well-meaning uncle dragged her to mingle, only for her to fade into wallpaper amid flirtatious banter she couldn't summon. Humiliation bloomed hot in her chest. She slipped away to a secluded alcove beneath a willow tree, its branches a veil of green sorrow. Tears pricked, unbidden, not for the love she lacked, but for the ache of being unseen, a footnote in her own family's joy. That's when he appeared, Elias Hawthorne, a figure carved from quiet storms. At 42, he was a widower etched by time's gentle chisel, silver threading his dark hair, eyes the color of aged oak, deep with unspoken grief. Dressed in a tailored navy suit that hung a touch too loosely, he wandered the edges of the party like a ghost at his own haunting. Elias had come alone, his 12-year-old daughter, Wren, tucked safely with a sitter back in their coastal cottage. Amelia, his wife of 15 years, had been stolen by cancer 3 summers prior, leaving him adrift in a sea of firsts, birthdays without her warmth, holidays hollow as echoes. Weddings were the worst, reminders of vows he'd buried beside her, of a love that lingered like salt on skin. He'd accepted the invitation out of duty to old friends, but now regretted it, the merriment a mirror to his isolation. Spotting Sophia in her shadowed nook, he paused, drawn by the kinship in her downturned gaze. "Hide-and-seek champion," he ventured, voice a low rumble softened by a tentative smile. He held 2 glasses of elderflower cordial, offering one like a truce. Sophia glanced up, startled, wiping her eyes with the heel of her hand. "More like professional wallflower. You, the same, I'm afraid." Elias Hawthorne, friend of the grooms from architecture school, back when we dreamed bigger than blueprints. "Sophia Evergreen," she replied, accepting the glass, her fingers brushing his in a spark of unintended warmth. "Sister of the bride. Apparently, that's my only claim to fame today." They talked, words unfurling like petals in dawn light. Elias shared sketches from his latest project, a seaside library inspired by Amelia's love of stories. Sophia confessed her sketches of endangered orchids, fragile blooms fighting for survival. Laughter crept in, tentative at first, then genuine, a shared jest about overzealous relatives and the tyranny of seating charts. But as the band's tempo quickened, drawing couples to the floor, silence settled, heavy with their mutual solitude. I hate this part, Elias admitted, gaze drifting to the dancers. Seeing everyone so whole makes you feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. Sophia's throat tightened. They made me sit alone. Like I'm contagious. As if singledom is a sin. He turned to her, eyes searching, a resolve flickering like embers. Then let's rewrite the script. Pretend you're my fiancé. Just for tonight. Let them whisper envy instead of pity. And maybe it'll trick us into believing it too, if only for a song. The words hung, bold and vulnerable, a lifeline tossed across the chasm. Sophia's heart stuttered. Absurd, exhilarating. Your fiancé. Me. Why? Because you deserve a partner in this charade. And frankly, so do I. No strings, no tomorrow. Just tonight. She nodded, a smile breaking free like sunlight through clouds. Deal. But if I step on your toes, it's your fault for choosing a botanist over a ballerina. Arm in arm, they re-emerged into the fray. Elias introduced her with effortless charm. My Sophia, the artist who captures the soul of flowers. Heads turned, brows arched in delighted surprise. Sophia's family gaped, her mother's eyes widening like saucers, aunt's buzzing like bees. On the dance floor, Elias's hand at her waist was steady, guiding her through a waltz with the grace of someone who'd once spun Amelia under starlit skies. See, he murmured, breath warm against her ear. You're a natural. The stars aligned for this. As the night deepened, the pretense blurred. They stole moments, sharing blackberry tarts under lantern glow, Elias tracing the constellation of freckles on her shoulder, Sophia coaxing stories of Wren's wild imagination from him. In the quiet interludes, truths slipped free, his fear of loving again, the hollow echo in his home, her dread of forever fading into footnotes. Amelia would have adored you, he said softly, during a slow sway to a violin lament. She always said life was too short for half measures. And you'd have hated my penchant for midnight gardening, Sophia teased, but her voice trembled with the weight of possibility. Dawn crept in with the first dance's encore, guests thinning like mist. As fireworks bloomed overhead, painting the sky in sapphire and gold, Elias pulled her close. Thank you, he whispered. For the borrow. It felt real. Sophia met his gaze, the willow's shadow yielding to light. Maybe it doesn't have to end at midnight. In the garden's embrace, under a canopy of vows not their own, two lonely souls discovered that pretense could plant seeds of truth. Sophia, once forced to sit alone, found her place, not in the margins, but in the heart of another's story. And Elias, adrift no more, glimpsed a horizon where grief bloomed into grace. For in the echo of a borrowed vow, they unearthed the courage to write their own, fierce, fragile, and utterly alive. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heart.